She loses her mind as men choose to stay single. Men refuse to date women anymore.
Honestly, in this day and age, shame on the women who shit on guys who actually try respectfully to like get your number or like approach you or like just hit on you in general in like a public setting. Extra bonus points if it's not a fucking bar or an atmosphere that involves alcohol. Like, I hate when girls like, ew, like that guy like came up to me, like what a weirdo. Like, they literally need to be encouraged to do that. Like, no one does it anymore. I love when men will like shit on like girls who go out in bars and stuff and stuff like that or whatever. But like, where are you gonna find your husband on Hinge? At the grocery store? They are not fucking approaching you there. Swear to God, whenever someone approaches me, specifically not in a bar setting, I have the utmost respect. Even if I don't find them attractive, I'll give them a number regardless or conversate with them regardless because it's like so admirable in this day and age to actually have the nerve and the kahunas to go and do that. So stop shitting on them because we need that.
You attract low-interest women if you approach as a man. So it's better for the woman to either approach a man or tell their friend that they like the man to show high interest. Men have been told not to approach. Just be taller than 90% of the world, better looking than 95% of the world, and richer than 99%. Tall, at least 6'3", blue collar, mustache, must be a certain weight, have a truck and boat, rich, and be super charismatic. There's many reasons why men don't approach. Fear of being filmed and posted on TikTok as a creep, labeled a creep, screamed out or get yelled creep, fear of rejection, fear of being insulted midway, or maybe not fear, maybe they just want to respect people's space. They want to be single, they don't want to approach anyone, etc. If you can encourage it not to be weird to help men, go do it, but be willing to accept that it won't change anything and do it out of the kindness of your heart. I also find men are more willing to approach women they have something in common with, so they're picky who they interact with. They may only want someone who wants a relationship, not someone who just wants attention and validation.
So I just got back from a Hinge date that was supposed to be a coffee date, and I kind of thought there was a red flag when he picked a coffee shop that was like 40 minutes away from me, and also a chain, but I was like, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Like, men maybe don't look for cute coffee shops. I show up and he's drinking his own coffee already, and I say hi and like sit down, and like 10 minutes into the conversation he's like, oh, like, aren't you gonna get a coffee? Like, pointing to the line. He's like, oh, do you want to wait for the line to die down and then you're gonna go up? I was like, okay, so you won't even give me a cup. It was terrible. And I literally came home and just want to cry. Like, it was so terrible. And that sounds dramatic, but like, it's not. Like, I spent all of my freaking Sunday like getting ready for this, getting myself like to feel good about it, and it was terrible. So yeah.
I don't entirely see something this guy did wrong. Like, yeah, he could have offered to get you something. Men shouldn't be expected to pay, though. If he's there early, getting his coffee isn't a bad thing. It sounds like there's more to the story than you're telling. Coffee dates are super normal. You're meeting a random stranger for the first time. The expectation shouldn't be much higher when you literally don't know the person.
For the first time, possibly in history, women are admitting they want daughters, not sons. Having a son is seen as an extreme burden to women around the world. You are expected to birth them, educate them, and shield them from conditioning from other boys. All this without acknowledgement. In fact, that very same son may grow up to take his mother's rights away. Women globally are reaching a line of contention, refusing to give birth to life that may become a weapon against them, against other women. This is why movements like 4B exist. Women are refusing to birth their own oppressors. In fact, they are liberating themselves from a life of suffering. Sons are no longer the standard. Daughters are.
She's saying having a son is an extreme burden to women, that women globally want daughters, not sons. Why? Because women are expected to birth them, educate them, and shield them from conditioning by other boys. This is one of the most selfish, short-sighted takes I've ever heard, and it reveals exactly why society is collapsing. First, having children, period, is work. Raising humans is difficult regardless of gender, but framing sons specifically as burdens while wanting daughters exposes something darker. These women want daughters because daughters are easier to control, mold into their own image, and turn into extensions of themselves. Sons require actually preparing someone for the real world, teaching accountability and strength, which takes effort these women don't want to give. Second, the idea that boys are burdens because you have to shield them from conditioning by other boys is insane. You're supposed to raise your son with strong values, character, and guidance so he becomes a good man who positively influences other boys. But that requires actual parenting, something modern women increasingly refuse to do while blaming men and society for their sons' outcomes. Here's what's really being said. I don't want to raise a son because I'll be held accountable if he turns out poorly, but if I raise a daughter, I can blame men and patriarchy for any problems. It's responsibility avoidance disguised as social commentary. And here's the brutal irony. The same women saying sons are burdens are often single mothers who chose terrible men to have children with, or women who actively undermine their sons' development by trash-talking men, emasculating male qualities, and raising boys without proper father figures. Then they wonder why their sons struggle. You created the problem, then complain about having to deal with it. Sons aren't burdens. Raising strong men who contribute to society is one of the most important things a woman can do. But if you view that as a burden rather than a privilege and responsibility, you shouldn't be having children at all.
So all the men from my previous post saying that they have found peace by being alone and they're not trying to date because they just want peace. Are you trying to say that we don't bring peace to your life?
Oh, they didn't try to say anything. They flat out said that they'd rather be by themselves and peaceful than to be with some of the women that are available out there.
I have to disagree.
Of course there would be some women that have to disagree with that statement because they simply cannot bring themselves to believe that many men, especially after seeing what's out there in the dating market, would rather be single, and they're actually happier being so.
I do not think that if a woman that you so desired was available to you, you would choose peace over commitment, sex, good meals with conversation, and things like that. So I'm going to call your bluff.
Some women simply don't get it. Because none of those things that were listed are actually what brings a man peace in a relationship. And if we're being really honest with ourselves, most men can get all of those perks of being in a relationship without actually being in one. So quite frankly, ladies, some of you are going to have to start accepting that men can be happy by themselves. I know that comes as a surprise.
She is yelling that she is peaceful. She's yelling about why men would choose peace and being alone over being in a relationship. The answer is in the question, because being alone is more peaceful than being with modern women. Men aren't choosing loneliness, we're choosing sanity. We're choosing to protect our mental health, our resources, and our freedom from relationships that have become exhausting, one-sided, and high risk with minimal reward. Modern relationships offer men constant conflict, emotional labor without reciprocation, financial drain, loss of freedom, being blamed for everything, walking on eggshells, and the very real possibility of losing everything we've built if she decides she's not happy anymore. Meanwhile, being alone offers actual peace, financial stability, time for hobbies and purpose, genuine friendships, no drama, and complete control over our own lives. When you do the cost-benefit analysis, being alone wins by a landslide. This isn't complicated. Women have made relationships so unappealing that solitude has become the superior option for millions of men. You want to know why men are choosing peace over you? Look in the mirror. You're the chaos we're avoiding.
So men don't approach women anymore because they're often referred to as creeps and they're scared of rejection. It's something that I hear a lot of. And I wanted to personally speak to this because I have a lot to say, because I am the biggest supporter of men being men and men pursuing women. Okay, so I'll preface this by saying that. But the problem is, a lot of men pursue women knowing that that woman is not interested in them. And therefore it leads to this negative culture with it. I could speak from my personal experience. I am a very respectful person. For the most part, any person that has ever approached me, tried to pursue me, that I knew I was not interested in, that person did not leave thinking about, oh, I've been rejected, what a terrible experience, they were never felt like a creep, none of that. However, I cannot tell you how many times I had been diplomatic or respectful about the decline, and it has led me to being borderline harassed. Whatever the reason may be at the time that I had rejected these people, I have heard things along the lines of not caring that I was in a relationship, or insinuating that my relationship is not going to work out or not serious. I have been told, don't worry, I like guys, so don't worry about it. Like, it was just clearly a lie. I've been told so many things under the sun. I've had people follow me. I've had people grab me, like, while walking to stop me. I've had a man grab me, right? So this is where you start to have this negative perception about this idea of being approached. And so the issue lies in the fact of men being able to decipher when a woman is genuinely interested, especially when that woman is very, very clear with her intentions. When someone says, I'm not interested, I'm not available, no, anything alluding to the fact of no or not interested needs to be taken with thank you, have a nice day. And that's how we create respectful encounters with approaches. And that's all it takes. And I think it's just certain people that overdo it and give a negative kind of perception of it based on the fact that they have no idea how to read social cues, or they just don't care to, and that's a huge problem. And that's my 2 cents.
Men are not scared of rejection. They don't like disrespect or lawsuits. It's safer when the woman approaches. So why would women want men to approach? It's not about rejection, but the fact it can easily turn in a shame game or false accusations, and it's such a sensitive subject that very few people will back you. It's safer because a man is more likely to accept a woman's advances as opposed to a woman accepting a man's. Higher success rate. Also because the average man does not feel remotely physically threatened by the average woman. It also unambiguously shows you are interested in him, giving him the green light to court you.
Nobody's dating anymore. And no, it's not because people are lazy, shallow, or afraid of commitment. It's because we're all trying to build love in a system that was never designed to hold it. This isn't a you problem, it's not even a them problem. It's a world problem, and we've all been dragged into it. First up, marriage. Not happening. People aren't coupling up at 22 with matching towels and a mortgage anymore. Why? Because we can't afford love and dental, duh. And if you do find someone you vibe with, you still gotta cross-reference credit scores, trauma loads, and whether you're building something or just filling space until they figure it out. So people are going solo, delaying marriage, skipping kids, and replacing intimacy with curated solitude and memes about emotional damage. We're independent, but not necessarily on purpose. Stay with me, because this brings me to work, like the jobs we clock in for. Remote work was supposed to be the dream. You roll out of bed, no bra, microwave a coffee 3 times, and boom, you're a functioning adult. But with fewer partners, fewer coworkers, fewer daily interactions, a lot of us are just sitting in silence, screaming inside group chats that don't reply. That's not freedom. That's isolation in disguise as freedom. We traded cubicles for freedom, but freedom without support is just isolation in yoga pants. And the gig economy? The gig economy. We were promised flexibility, but it's more like, congratulations! You're the CEO of your own burnout. And it's not that everyone wants to be famous or an influencer either. It's that no one wants to work full time and still feel broke. The jobs that hold the world together don't come with stability anymore. They come with back pain, burnout, and $27 left by Thursday. We turned caretaking into failure and spectacle into value. We forgot that some jobs aren't glamorous. They're holy. Most high-paying jobs now are capital jobs, not societal ones. The guy shifting imaginary numbers on Wall Street makes 7 figures. But the social worker keeping families from falling apart, they're crying on their lunch break making $20 an hour. Tell me again how that's okay. We are not rewarding people who sustain life. We are rewarding people who extract from it. And then, if you do want to be one of the smarty good ones, like a therapist or a nurse practitioner, congrats. That'll be 6 years of school, $100,000 in debt, and the privilege of being broke while you save lives. The path to freedom requires 5 years of unpaid internships and a master's degree in burnout. And the middle path, dignified work, fair play, no burnout, doesn't seem to exist. You want to know what's really sexy? Living within your means. We know the system's broken. We're just too tired to fight someone's uncle in the comments again. Like, yes, Mark, I do believe capitalism is unsustainable. No, I don't have the energy to debate it between my 2 jobs and this stress rash. And let's bring in identity really quick, shall we? Back in the day, identity was like, I'm John, I fish. Now it's, I'm demisexual, plant-based Virgo who's pivoting from UX design to somatic healing while exploring my inner child and launching a newsletter about dopamine regulation. We're free to be anything, but nobody warned us that freedom comes with an infinite existential crisis and an identity buffet where every dish might give you spiritual food poisoning. So while we're spiraling about who we are, student debt is suffocating us, housing is laughable, and climate change is throwing hands. And instead of helping each other, we're either too busy fighting online or closed off from the world. Because the American system trained us to turn on each other or to close the world out. Trust in people? Only 34% of Americans say they believe most people can be trusted. That's not just sad, it's apocalyptic. It's the village is burning and everyone is live streaming it energy. We are in a spiritual dissonance, people. Our bodies are humming one rhythm, rest, community, meaning, and capitalism is blaring dubstep in the background, screaming, monetize or die, baby. And I'm sorry, but no, I don't want to build a brand. I want to be held. We're not broken, people. We're just awake in a world that keeps gaslighting our guts. And then we get told to fix it with hustle. Launch a business. Monetize your hobbies. Become a boss. Man, launch what? The microwave? We don't need passive income. We need passive nervous systems. We need to stop measuring worth in productivity and start remembering that being human is not a brand strategy. It's not that we're bad at dating. Maybe it's that dating can't survive in a world this spiritually malnourished.
You are so right about all that. Housing is a joke. Marriage, same thing. Why getting married to lose it all as a guy when another dude comes and steals her woman, or when she decides to leave due to her existential problems sometimes? Then what? We are destined to lose all our assets that we so work very hard to get. The disgusting part is how our dating is even being monetized. Hinge, Tinder, Bumble, taking advantage of how disconnected we are all feeling.